Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk, brought to you by the Detroit Lions on the Prowl. I'm so excited today. What a topic we got for you today. We have Matthew Stafford, the enigma that is. What do you want to do with him? What is the GM going to do with him? What are our thoughts? What do we think about this? And it's going to be great. We have the Featherman coming in for his segment this week on fantasy football. And it's really, really good. A lot of detail in there. And if you're a fantasy football owner, you're going to want to check out that segment. We got news on the injury report. We've got Detroit Lions news and rumors. But before we get to any of those things and your comments, we're going to bring in my main man, Curt Steele.
What up, though? Welcome to the program, people. You know what it is. It's Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. And join the family. Subscribe to the channel. Comment on the videos. Answer the question of the day. Share the videos. All of this helps us get this content to more Lions fans just like yourself. Let's get this thing started
right now.
Hey, welcome back to the show, people. You know what we do at this time. Let's get up these comment cards. Jim, you up first.
Well, first of all, we have Agent Friday. Love the name, by the way. Friend of the show. These Stafford deniers are tripping on some potent stuff. I said it once. I said it a million times, and I'll say it once more. The Lions' problem is not Stafford. Let's get talent back on this team. Quinn and Patricia pushed all of our playmakers off this team for the Patriot way. And that is laughable, unsustainable outside of any team without the league's golden boy, Tom Brady. Hopefully the Lions get a GM who's trying to build his own legacy and not trying to be some other successful team. Been there, done that. Wow, a lot here to unpack, but I agree with you on a lot of things. I don't think all of our playmakers are gone. That I don't believe. We still have Stafford. You still have DeAndre Swift. We still have Galladay. We still have, well, sort of. So we still have playmakers, so I don't believe that. But I believe that overall this team has never really been that deep or that good. It's just been mediocre to bad, and that doesn't help anything.
All right. Next up, we have McKellen Morris. I think I said that right. All right. These guys, I guess that's us, are typical Stafford apologists. Stafford is average to good, but rarely great. Aaron Rodgers kept coaches employed. Stafford gets them canned. Aaron Rodgers was one of the key reasons that Mike McCarthy was out of the league for a while. So, and how can you blame Matthew Stafford for getting the coach fired? I don't understand that, but I mean, you have your own opinion. I don't agree with Matthew Stafford getting coaches fired. The last coach that he had before Patricia was very successful, and he didn't get him fired. They went 9-7.
I know.
Okay.
Chief 2017 says, great move. Same old Lions ended yesterday. Might take 2 to 3 years, but we are on the right track. The fans needed to hear this. We have a pulse in our hearts, and our hearts are beating strong. And I'm telling you, this guy is absolutely right. I agree with you, Chief. I'm telling you right now, I believe I had such a crushed soul with this team for a long period of time, and now I'm actually really, really excited. I do believe we're going in the right direction. I've wanted the Lions way for a long, long time now, and I believe it's here. I believe Spielman brings that personality. It's an intangible that he brings. It's hard to explain, but that's how I feel about it.
I agree 100%. All right, next up, Justin Baldwin says, Baldwin, the Lions also need to bring back Megatron to the team and let him help out. Also fix the culture. I think it's one of the big reasons that we brought in somebody like Chris Spielman, who knows, who was on the winning Lions team, who knows the culture of Detroit. He knows the city of Detroit. And that's one of the reasons why they brought him into the organization, to fix the culture, because the culture was so toxic under the last regime.
Absolutely. And the identity of the organization was very, very bad throughout the league, too. We didn't get much respect whatsoever. And it is former players that we don't treat very well. And bringing Megatron back in and mending that fence would really be a big deal to me. As it just shows that this is a new beginning.
Yeah, even with Barry Sanders, look how long it took him to come back into the fold to really be back with the organization.
Absolutely. That's a great point, too, Curt. Braden Latour. Great show, guys. Love the content. I would disagree with Spielman being able to fix Tavai as a defender, though. As a great football mind as Spielman is, his role in the organization does not seem to lend itself to the actual coaching itself, rather advising the selection of the coaching staff. Love the hire. Very excited to see what direction our team goes under the new regime. Me too. The thing I was thinking about that is because he doesn't have a really designated position with the Lions. It was said by Rod Wood that he was going to be able to go and be all throughout the organization. Spielman didn't have great speed, and I think that he was a good middle linebacker. I think Tavai is more a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
And when you go into a different space that you feel like a fish out of water, you start to lose confidence, I think. And I think he could build that guy back up just by mentoring him just a little bit. He doesn't have to coach him. I'm just saying mentor him, tell him how it was for him, tell him what, the experiences he went through and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. So just to clear that up.
Yeah, I mean, Spielman was an undersized linebacker who played with a lot of heart, and he had to use he was a very smart player. So I think some of those things that you said, can help fix Tavai. Tavai himself needs to be on the line or in the middle. Looking at his tape in college, at University of Hawaii, that's where he had his most success, was playing either up front on the line. He wasn't dropping back in coverage because he's not that type of player. Right. And they try to make him that in Detroit. In the Mountain West, they have a lot of speed out there, and to try to make him that out there, if he couldn't do it out there in the Mountain West, he definitely can't do it in the NFL. All right. Next up, we have Ryan Diltz. What up, Ryan? As a fan, I always want the Lions to win, but I gotta say I'm happy it didn't work with Bob and Matt, or like we like to call them here, Quinn, Trisha. It just didn't feel right trying to take the philosophies of the Patriots and be like them. I want our own identity, one pride, baby. Go Lions. Okay, Ryan, we really appreciate that. One pride always, my man. And it needs to be the Lions way and our own identity. Tough as nail, blue collar. You know what we do in Michigan. We work in the factories. We tough. We get things done, and we earned everything we get, and we don't have a level of arrogance with it.
That's right. That's right. That's the hard hat, go to work. I like the Pistons, the bad boys. I like that mentality as well. All right. Love this comment. Miles Magma, for the Stafford haters, do you want Jeff Comlow, Joey Harrington, Andre Ware, Eric Hipple, Rusty Hilger, Scott Mitchell, Bob Gagliano, Chuck Long, Gary Danielson, whoever to be the Lions quarterback again? And basically what he's saying is, it is not as easy as you think to get a star quarterback. It really isn't. It looks easy because other teams have done it, but look at the teams that haven't done it for years and years and years. So for all you Stafford haters that want him out the door, you might just get your wish, and you may not wish that it happened.
Yep. Next up, we have Kevin B. What up, Kev? Not a Stafford hater, but I think we should get rid of him if it is feasible. He might be the best quarterback that the Lions have had in the past 40 years, which isn't saying much, but he's not a game changer, especially considering where he was drafted. Stafford has always had problems with his accuracy and touch, and no one should expect those things to improve later in the later part of his career. Stafford has passed for a lot of yards, but how much of that was an inability of the Lions to develop a consistent running game since Barry retired? As far as mentioning how long Rodgers, Breeze, and Brady have lasted, they all relied on accuracy versus arm strength, while Stafford, well, you get it. I mean, Stafford does have touch. He can throw from multiple platforms. He can toss the ball down the field. The arm talent isn't the issue for me. I know he has had accuracy issues for the last couple of years. I think it's really the system that he's played under, and I think coming under the Matt Patricia, where they wanted to play a little bit more conservative on both sides of the ball. You can see the difference when you just open the offense up for him. And he has taken a lot of sacks over his career, not just the last couple of years.
Yes.
The longevity of his career. So I think Stafford is just as good a talented quarterback as any quarterback we have in the league right now. He does things that a lot of quarterbacks can't do. A lot of those off-platform throws that Patrick Mahomes make and those no-look passes, number 9 does them as well.
Yeah, he does, and we're going to get into a lot more Stafford as we go. We're going to get into the next couple of comments, though. Thomas Riddle, nothing like stealing MJF's music. Okay, so number one, you're the first one to comment on it. I don't know if you're the first one to realize it, but first one to comment on it. MJF is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and he's from AEW. I do keep up on my wrestling, and yeah, the song is exactly like his, which I found really odd when I was going through the YouTube royalty-free music, because this song is actually called Take All of Me. It is in the YouTube royalty-free music, so no, it is not MJF's music, although it sounds exactly like it, and I'm not so sure they didn't get it from there, but you never know. So that solves that problem right there.
Yeah, we ain't stealing, bruh. Go ahead with that. All right, so next up we have, last but not least, Steven Silverthorne. Silverthorne is a ridiculously good name. I like that name. Real. You know what I'm saying? It takes me back to Pontiac. You know what I'm saying? Yep. The Silverthorne, Silverdome. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. All right. Matthew Stafford is one of the best come from behind quarterbacks. He does not have the offensive line or defensive line that Aaron Rodgers has or other team have. Thank you for your continued commitment to Lions Pride. You know what it is, my man.
Yes.
Hey, we try to bring you the best content that we can bring you. And we're going to stay One Pride all day, baby. Now it is time for some Detroit Lions news and rumors. Jim, what you got?
Oh, we got a main one right here that came out yesterday, and it has to do with one of the guys that I think is the toughest person on this team besides Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford is amazingly tough. But Frank Ragnow plays 68 plays with a broken throat. How do you even break your throat?
Yeah.
I think you'll comment on that. But it's amazing. This dude is so, I'm telling you, that is toughness. That's Detroit tough right there. And he kind of whispered it to Matthew Stafford so that he would be able to make the offensive line adjustments. And he also told Chase Daniel. But other than that, he wasn't talking to anybody, literally. But that's terrible to say.
He's doing good. He's saying he's all right. He's able to eat and breathe and everything like that. Now, the injuries that he sustained are conducive with choking. So that's what a strangulation. Wow. So, maybe on one of those dog piles that Frank Ragnow, maybe, one of those players from the Packers. Now, I'm not saying that's what happens, but what happened, but his injuries are conducive to a strangulation. So maybe somebody try to choke him out in one of those dog piles. You're
not thinking the squeaky clean Green Bay Packers did anything like that, are you? Is that what you're suggesting? Oh my gosh.
Packers aren't squeaky clean. And the dirtiest jokers, man. I can't, man, whatever. But that's Frank Ragnow. That's very tough for him to stay in that game, to having the quarterbacks help call the protections. The voice of the center is very key in that offensive line.
Very much so. And more on the Green Bay thing, it takes me back to the Ndamukong Suh thing where he stomped the Green Bay player, and it was so awful.
It was the guy. It was TJ Lang. That's who he stomped.
Was it? But whoever it was slammed his head repeatedly into the ground before Ndamukong Suh ever flipped him over. But that's never talked about. Anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. Detroit Lions signed quarterback Ta'amu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to the practice squad following Matthew Stafford's injury. I'm not sure this is much to look at here, as I really do believe Stafford's going to play.
Yeah.
They do get rid of the other punter, though, and he had been on the team for the entire year. I can't remember, Sipos or something like that was his name.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yep, they got rid of him. So they cut him and they bring on the quarterback. So I don't know, kind of a nothing burger for me, but what do you think?
I just think it's an emergency situation, just in case Stafford does not play. They have enough depth at the quarterback position. Now, if you don't know who he is, he played for the St. Louis Battlehawks of the XFL. He's actually was signed to the Chiefs and Patriots earlier this year. Good size quarterback, played at the University of Ole Miss. Or East Mississippi, actually. He played at Ole Miss. So, good size quarterback, mobile, but I just think that is just a depth signing for the back end of the season.
And that's our Detroit Lions news and rumors. And now we have our injury report, and it's going to be done there by Curt.
All right, let's look at these people who were out for the practice on Wednesday. Jason Combina had the sniffles. It was out of the
sniffles
on Wednesday. Offensive lineman Terrell Crosby continues to have the ankle injury. Kenny Golladay, he can't get that hip flex for nothing. Deshaun Hand, another missed practice with an ankle injury. The guy we just talked about, Frank Ragnow, did not practice due to his throat injury. Cornerback Darryl Roberts, no practice yesterday, another hip injury. Quarterback Matthew Stafford had the rib cartilage injury and the thumb, of course. Defensive tackle John Pennicini, his shoulder was a little injured, but he was limited in practice. He didn't miss. Adrian Peterson with a forearm injury was limited as well. Tracy Walker with a shoulder was limited as well. The man who was MIA for most of his career, Austin Bryant, was a full goal on Wednesday, along with safety C.J. Moore.
I got to say something. Deshaun Hand is such a disappointment. I mean, I loved him coming out of college. He played just lights out for us, and he just can't get on the field. Him and Austin Bryant, they both can't get on the field very much. I mean, Austin Bryant, again, is going to play this week, we probably assume.
I think so, yeah.
But it's just so disappointing. It just is. I can't kind of deal with it anymore. All right. Thank you for doing the injury report, Curt.
Yeah. And now it is time for some fantasy news and advice from our guy, Taylor, the Featherman.
What's cracking, Detroit Lions on the Prowl Faithful? It's your boy Taylor Featherman back again for another edition of Fantasy with Featherman. It is week 2 of the fantasy football playoffs. 2 of 3 if you're keeping track at home, meaning get through this one, you've got one more, and then boom, Christmas week, you get to host the championship trophy. A feeling like no other. So let's get to work. Let's get right into our first segment. We are talking about streaming positions right now. What that means is just finding a guy on the waiver wire or in free agency that you can plug in and survive. Because we're in the playoffs, right? All we're looking to do is survive and advance. And you've only got 2 more wins until you're a champion. So just keep on surviving. I noticed this a lot, and it's something I want to talk about once I got through last weekend because, going into last weekend, you might have been in a pretty good place with your fantasy team, and then let's say you own David Johnson or Myles Garrett, both guys who basically out of the blue, you got that notification, buzz, what's that? Boom, they're on the COVID list. They're out this week. What are you going to do? Go. You got to be able to find guys that you can streamline and you can put in, as I said last show, plug and play. Apparently I said that too much last week. But guys, you can plug and play. They can go from the free agency right on your starting lineup, and they can help you survive and advance. So we're going to look at basically every position at a guy that I think right now you could stream and you could sub in and at least survive with. So starting off at quarterback, it's kind of the meat and potatoes of your whole team. And I think this one's pretty obvious. Jalen Hurts. I would be very comfortable plugging him in this week against the Cardinals to start for you and at least give you a fighting shot to advance to the next round. He's only owned in 31% of Yahoo leagues right now. This is a guy who had 167 yards in the air, a passing touchdown, and 100 yards on the ground, 106 to be exact. That's 10 points in any fantasy league. Well, it should be. It should be 10 points in any fantasy league. Plus the yards in the air and the touchdown. That's like a 26-point week for him, and who's not going to take that? I would take that from a quarterback to at least help me survive any week. It's way better than anything else you're going to pick up, I think. I mean, you might find like Tannehill out there. I would be okay with that one. But otherwise, I mean, be careful. You don't want to blow up your whole week on one bad decision. Running back Gus Edwards, I would start and play. I would go with Gus Edwards this week if I was hurting for running back. He's owned in about 40% of Yahoo leagues right now. We saw that huge showdown last week, the Monday night game, I guess this week, with the Browns and the Ravens. But, I mean, it's very clear to me, and it should be clear to any NFL fan watching this right now, that the Ravens' entire game plan is we're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball different ways, several different ways, a whole bunch of different ways, but we're going to run the ball, especially with their slew of wide receivers that got put on the COVID list this week. Definitely going to be a big running game for the Ravens this week. Last week against the Browns, once again, 49 yards, 7 carries, and 2 touchdowns for Gus Edwards. The Gus Bus. Big Trust Gus. I think he's got a few nicknames, but I would plug that guy into my lineup and be pretty comfortable that he could at least help me survive another week. Wide receiver, kind of the same story. I really like Russell Gage here. He's only owned in 50% of the Yahoo leagues right now, and it all comes down to Julio Jones for me, who I think is trending the wrong direction to play this week in Week 15 in the NFL. So if you own Julio Jones and you need an out, I mean, you already had to deal with it last week, so you probably already have a guy. But if you don't, Russell Gage, I think, is a good pickup. He gets a lot of targets when Julio's not around. I think he had 18.5 points in my fantasy leagues last year, just kind of standard PPR scoring. Again, if you're not in a PPR league, you should quit. You should quit. Whatever. Tight end, I would go with Cole Kmet here. He's a guy who's gaining a lot of trust with his quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. He's a rookie from Notre Dame. We knew it'd be a little bit of time before he was bursting on the scene, but he's there now. He drew 7 targets last week, caught 5 of them, 37 yards, and a touchdown. I think he's only going to keep getting a bigger and more expansive role in that Bears offense, which is starting to look a little bit better. So I think Cole Kmet's a guy you could plug and play there at the tight end position. Kickers, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on kickers. Jason Sanders has been out there in some leagues I'm in. Otherwise, guys like, I'd be very comfortable with like Joey Sly or Tyler Bass. Those are both guys on feisty teams who maybe can't always score the touchdown, but they'll get you in field goal range. And defense, boy, the defensive thing, I really hope you're not streaming defenses at this point of the season, because there's nothing better than having just an awesome defense that you know is going to get you 10 plus every week. But if you are streaming defenses, Lions fans, please cover your ears. I would take a look at the Tennessee Titans this week against the Detroit Lions. And I think the Cowboys and 49ers matchup is pretty disgusting, but I have this rule where whenever you're playing against Andy Dalton, you have a shot. So with that being said, the 49ers defense, I would take a shot on this week to start, because you know the Red Rifle's going to throw 3 picks. You just know it. All right, moving on. Next segment. All right, it is time for the Fantasy Fan Question Asked and Answered. This week's question comes to us from @MilesSperry on Twitter. Hit the DMs. Who has a higher ceiling going into Week 2 of the playoffs, Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt? Okay, so I said that we were going to talk more about this game earlier, and that was all in allusion to this question, because I think this is such a great question. And a lot of times when it comes down to backfields with 2 backs, 3 backs involved, I want out. I want one guy who's going to get 20, 30 carries, somewhere in that range, and they're just going to work him. This is a backfield where I'm very comfortable with either one of these guys going forward in the rest of the NFL. I mean, you've got this week, obviously, and then next week. And, I mean, as far as NFL fantasy football playoffs go, but I'm very comfortable with either one of these guys. But let's talk about what we saw Monday night against the Ravens, because I think that what you saw there is what the Browns want to be. They want to go for 40 every week. They're an offense that everyone last year was super hyped up about. They way underperformed. I think it hurt some feelings. I mean, obviously Freddie Kitchens was a doofus, but the thing I love so much about Kevin Stefanski, the new coach of the Browns, is that This season, he said, all right, Baker Mayfield's not going to lose NFL games for me. I got 2 great running backs. I'm going to just pound the football and then let Baker Mayfield throw on like first and second down. And that's what he does for the most part. I mean, obviously, when you put up 40 points, you have to throw the ball a bit. So they've been throwing the last couple weeks. But Nick Chubb on Monday night, 17 carries, 82 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 21 yards. 24 points in most fantasy football leagues, and a great night. A great night. Nothing, you can't ask for anything more. But his backfield partner, Kareem Hunt, 6 rushes, not as many rushes, 33 yards and a touchdown. But here's where he comes in clutch. 7 targets, 6 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown. Now, if I'm looking at both of these players, the one that draws my eye more is Kareem Hunt. And I know that's crazy because Nick Chubb is an incredible running back. Any NFL team would be lucky to have a guy like Nick Chubb. That does it for us here on Fantasy with Featherman. Another great week. Make sure you hit me up on Twitter like Miles did, at @Feather_24 on Twitter. Hit me with a fan question so I can answer it here on the show. Or if not, I'll at least answer you on Twitter. If it's good enough, I'll bring it on the show. But yeah, that does it for us here on Fantasy with Featherman. Jim and Curt, back to you guys.
Welcome back. What a segment, man. It adds so much to the show. Thank you, Taylor, for doing that for us. There's some in-depth fantasy football league as you head into your playoffs and everything. I don't know a whole lot about fantasy, I have to admit that, but boy, that was darn good. We really appreciate you, Taylor.
Yeah, my man. All right, now it's time for the main course. Let's look at Matthew Stafford's career highlights in Detroit.
The Matthew Stafford enigma is what we're saying here. What do we do with him? What is going on there? A lot of people want to get rid of him. Some people want to keep him. Some people think he's too old. Some people think he's not talented enough, or he's just not the right quarterback for this team to lead this team. So we're going to go into all of that, and then Curt's got some stats for us to start us off.
All right, just real quick. All right, he is the Lions leader in most statistical categories at the quarterback position, leads all major yards, passing, touchdowns, completion rates, all number 1 in the categories for Matthew Stafford. He is the fastest quarterback in the history of the NFL to have 40,000 passing yards. He has a NFL record game-winning drives in a season at 8, 31 career comebacks with 38 game-winning drives for his career in Detroit.
Let's get rid of that guy. Okay, here's the discussion, and it's basically Stafford has another year left on his deal. Is that correct, or is it 2?
He has actually. I will pull it up. It is actually he has. He signed to 2023.
2023. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. But the thing is, we have a new regime coming in. When this happened last time too, when Quinn came in, they said, "Oh, they're going to get rid of Stafford because he wants to start out with his quarterback and all that." But actually, what they had said was Stafford was one of the reasons they wanted to come here. So, okay. Number one, when we were doing the comment cards, it was exactly what I was going to bring up. It's been a long time, probably most of your lifetime, since we've had a good quarterback. You think it's easy just to go out and get another one? How about asking the Jets?
Yep.
Maybe Miami. Yep. Some of these teams that have had Cincinnati until now. Jacksonville. Ask Chicago.
Yep.
Ask these teams how long it takes to get a real quarterback in the building and why we should be not so quick to kick him out. I just think it's awful the way we treat this guy in Detroit. I think that there is so much else wrong with this team that your theory is let's get rid of the best player we got because that will help.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I know we have only 5 draft picks. I just don't think that you get rid of your best player. And yes, I'm going to keep saying it. Your best player. Who else is breaking records on our team?
Not very.
Unless they went back to vinyl, I don't think there's any.
Yeah. This for me, it's twofold. All right. One thing, let's look at Matthew Stafford as just who he is. One of the best arm talents in the league, can throw from multiple platforms, has the 62% career accuracy rating as far as his completion percentage. One of the big things is that if you look at the cap hit the Lions will take next year for getting rid of Matthew Stafford and the dead money, it's ridiculous. His cap number next year is $33 million, which is 17% of the Lions' salary for next season. He has a dead money cap hit of $19 million.
But I have a point on that. I have a point to that.
Money.
The point is, if we are in a true rebuild, we're not going to go going out and signing big name free agents and spending a lot of money in the first place. So what does it hurt us? You build through the draft and then you supplement with free agents when that time comes. Right now, I'm signing people to a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, something like that, just to field the team as we rebuild. I'm not a proponent of going out and we just got to retool. I don't think that's the case, especially for the defense.
2021 is going to be a bridge year, definitely. But if you do release him, pre-cut for the June 1st deadline, it's a cap savings of $14 million, but you're still going to lose $19 million of cap space. To me, it just doesn't make any sense as far as a cap hit that we will take for releasing Matthew Stafford. Now, if you get someone who's going to take part of that salary on, but you still are going to be on the hook for just about $17 million of it, even with a trade for Matthew Stafford. You can trade for a pick or trade for another player, because half of the salary is going to be on the Lions themselves. So it just doesn't make sense to get him out of the building right now, from a fiscal standpoint. But as far as the talent and the toughness, I mean, if you look at Matthew Stafford is Detroit.
Yep.
He's tough as nails. You don't hear him complaining. He goes about his job and he does what he needs to do. And he's not afraid to play hurt. And he definitely can drive the team down the field to victories. We just haven't given him enough tools around him to sustain long-term success while he's been in Detroit.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But when we're talking about that, the Stafford haters will bring up the fact that, he had Megatron and he had Golden Tate and he had all these weapons and he had Javid Best and blah, 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 blah. But he had no defense. So you name me the year they had a top 10 defense and a top 10 running game in the same year. I'll wait. Because it doesn't exist. They averaged defense and offense that Matthew Stafford has played with through his entire career is in the mid to late 20s of the league.
Especially
that ain't even average.
Their run game, look how many years it took us to have a 100-yard rusher. Look how many years.
5 years.
5 years. Look how many he's had. 1,000-yard rusher since he's been in Detroit and been in the league. So that's not a recipe for success on any team.
And then the other people will say, well, he's just not the right quarterback for this team. Who are you replacing him with? I'll wait. That's the other point. Okay, you're just going to go out and draft some dude and think he's going to be all that in a bag of chips right now? I like Zach Wilson too, but is he Stafford? Is he as good as Stafford is right now? And if he isn't, why are you even contemplating? I'm not saying don't draft a quarterback. That is not what I'm saying. We need to draft a quarterback right now. I agree with that. But why in the world do you? It's just like, okay, so the defense is playing terrible, and we're just not getting anywhere. So let's get rid of Ndamukong Suh, who was our best player. Let's just get rid of Darius Slay because the defense isn't working. We're not winning a Super Bowl with him, so get him out of here. Barry Sanders, we didn't win a conference championship with him or a Super Bowl. Get his raggedy butt out of here. I almost said something else. Because I'm very heated about this topic. I really am.
To me, it's just like there's so many, arguments about getting Stafford out of town. And we heard it yesterday on the Pat McAfee show. Even Dan Orlovsky said that, and he's a friend of Stafford, and he was saying it's time for Stafford to move on, and for the Lions to move on from Stafford and Stafford to move on from the Lions. but there's so many reasons to, saying that he should continue to be in Detroit, because who are we going to get to replace him? And I think it's just irresponsible for a new head coach or GM to come in and take the best player off the team.
And he's 32 years old. He won't be 33 until February. Here's the other thing. Aaron Rodgers is slinging it at 37. And someone made a comment to me about that and said, well, Stafford's been hit a lot more and he has a lot more injuries. A lot more injuries? I'll tell you this. Rodgers has been hurt quite a bit too. Calf injury, ankle injury, knee injury, shoulder. He had that collarbone issue. I mean, he's been injured a lot. In fact, they were in Green Bay saying a few years ago, we think he's on his decline. We think he's no good. And guess what? Now he's great again. You got to understand something here. People play a lot longer than they used to. He's not in his 30s and it's over. The
ebbs and flows of the game. And you look at the it's one of the things is that the protections for the quarterback that really can make the longevity of an NFL career for a quarterback better, because they're not allowed to hit the quarterback in certain ways. They don't take the amount of punishment.
Right. Unless you're Stafford and they don't call it.
Unless you're Stafford, but he's taken a pounding each year.
He does.
The sack totals are astronomical, and we just need to get an offensive line that can protect him more, and we need to get some weapons on the outside that can get separation.
I agree with that too.
You don't have to hold the ball as long, as some other quarterbacks in the league. But to be overall, I'm not a proponent of getting rid of Matthew Stafford. I think he's a rare talent. He has one of the best arm talents in the league, and if you build a team around him, he can definitely lead your team to victory. I
agree. I got another one too. Peyton Manning, neck fused together or neck injury, whatever. Didn't think he was ever going to, play again, and then he goes ahead and he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the year he went to the first year that he went to the Super Bowl with Denver, he came back off of that injury and had one of the best years as a quarterback in NFL history.
Yep.
So and he was long in the tooth when he did that. So you can't say that, that it's Matthew Stafford age. Yes, he's been in the league since he was 20, and that's 12 years in Detroit. But if you think about this, and Matthew Stafford is Detroit. What he does in the community in Detroit with the Detroit Lions Academy, and it's just okay. And I think one of the things that contributed to his decline in the last few years is really the people who just left the building. That's just me.
And the other thing is, Curt, we're going to go into some stats and in a bit, but I want to put this in perspective so that people understand. Matthew Stafford is a rare talent. It is not like, we'll just go out and get Joe Blow and it'll be great because then we'll get to the play. You guys don't think that is not correct thinking. It really isn't. When you have a generational talent like Barry Sanders, who we have struggled to replace, Kelvin Johnson in wide receiver position, I think we did okay there, but it's not Megatron. What I'm saying is, why give up on that guy and every year talk about getting rid of that guy when all he's done is do the best he can for this team? Is he perfect? No, of course not. He's not perfect. But I'm going to go to Curt, and I want Curt, man, just tell us some of the stats and some of the records that he holds, both in the NFL and for the Detroit Lions.
All right, for the NFL, most passing touchdowns in a single game by a rookie quarterback at 5. Youngest quarterback to throw at least 5 touchdowns in a single game. He was 21 years and 288 days old. First player to complete 60% or more of all passes in a game in a season. That was 2015. So in 2015, he had 60% of completion for the entire season. All right. Like we said, most games with 40 or more pass attempts in a season. Fastest player to reach 15, 20, 25, 30, and 40,000 yards passing. That's ridiculous amount of consistency. Fastest player to reach 3,000 completions. most passing yards in the first 100 games of a career, most fourth quarter comebacks in a season, and well as the game-winning drives at 8 in 2016. For the Lions, he has pretty much everything. Most completions in a season at 435 yards. Most pass completions ever, 3,559 yards completions at Detroit. Most pass attempts in a season. Looking at his career, most passing yards in the season for the Lions at 5,038 in 2011. Most passing yards in a game, 520 versus the Packers back in 2012. Most career 4,000 passing yard seasons at 7 seasons with 4,000 yards passing. That's ridiculous amount.
That's
of
crazy.
Consistency. Most passing touchdowns in the game again at 5. Most career passing touchdowns at 256 touchdown passes. He had his higher single season passer rating at 99.3. That's back in 2017. Most fourth quarter comeback wins. You know what he got. He got 38. That's for the Lions. Most career game-winning drives at 38 as well. Most game-winning drives in a season, which is also the NFL record at 8. Most consecutive completion passes in a game, where he had 14 straight completions versus the New Orleans Saints back in 2016. It just reads a myriad. I mean, if I had to read all of these records he has in Detroit, is ridiculous. He is number one statistically in every major passing category for the Detroit Lions. He is the franchise leader just about in everything. I think he's probably sips of water on the sidelines. I think he's leading that for the Lions.
But you know, all that to say, let's get rid of that guy. That's the same old Lions mentality. It really is. It's like, oh, that guy's producing. Let's get rid of him. You know what? Great players command great money. Just remember that, because he's a great player. I believe that. Now, as to he's not getting us anywhere, and you know, he hasn't won anything in 10, 11 years. Well, you know, whatever his 12 years, he hasn't won anything. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I don't know the last time that Matthew Stafford went on the defense and covered somebody, or was the kickoff guy, or was the return specialist, or was the defensive end that didn't get to the quarterback, or was that terrible defense that can't tackle, and was the running back that runs right into the lineman's rear end and falls down? I mean, is this his fault?
Or the tight end, or the wide receiver that drop passes, or
the coaches, or the regime changes.
I mean, he's went through a lot in Detroit, and he's still dedicated himself to being a Detroit Lion. And to be honest with you, if you ask him, he'll tell you he doesn't want to go anywhere. He likes being in Detroit. He wants to win, and win one for the city of Detroit, because it's ingrained in who he is.
By that logic, we should have got rid of everybody, because there's nobody that's brought us to a Super Bowl. Billy Sims, Barry Sanders, Herman Moore, who I love. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson. We should have got rid of every single one of them, because they didn't get us to the promised land.
You know, and there's Matthew Stafford is a rarity, because he's one of those guys who's going to get the blame because he plays the quarterback position, and that's really, to me, that's really been unfair as far as what people expect from quarterbacks. You can't put the success of an entire franchise on one player.
Nope, you cannot. And I believe
fair.
It takes a team.
It's not fair. Because the teams that win Super Bowls are good teams. Even though, say Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes is a rare talent. He's one of the best players to ever do it, especially at the young age. But guess what? If he didn't have those pieces around him, if he didn't have a Tyreek Hill and a Sammy Watkins and Williams and
Chris Jones on defense,
Chris Jones on defense,
tackle.
Look at their secondary, Tyrann Mathieu and those guys over there in the set, Breland. You know, if they didn't have those guys on that team, you know, even the one thing that made the Patriots good, they were a good team. You know, even though they didn't have some big names in positions, but they were a good, solid team, and they had that team mentality. that has always been an issue with the Lions, but they haven't had a good team to put together. Sustained success. They've had flashes of it, but there's never been sustained great teams to put on the field in the Motor City.
So let's try to figure out how to build that offensive line to block better, to protect him more.
That right side is a weakness.
Yep, it really is. We need to rebuild that. Let's have a defense for once. That would be nice, and a running game at the same time. How about having a top 10 running game and a top 10 defense at the same time? How about that? Let's try that for once, because we haven't done it. That's the thing. We have to build this team in the image of Detroit, but we also have to build this team that has talent.
Yep.
We can't throw out an offensive line that doesn't do the job. And this year, the offensive line has done pretty well, but we need help on the defensive line, linebacking core, all of the defense. Really, we need help. We can't have Stafford having to shoot it out every game.
It's so hard to play complementary football if you don't have the talent around on your squad to play that. All three phases of the game well.
Right. So I'm going to jump off the soapbox here for a little bit, and I'm going to ask you the question of the day. Do you think we should keep Matthew Stafford? If so, why? If not, why? And we'll respond to your comments as we always do on the next show. We'll pick a few, and then we'll go through those. So now it's time for my favorite part of the show, the dessert with Curt.
All right, people, you know what it is. We are Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home with Detroit Lions news and rumors. And it's always a favorite part of the show. It is time for the dessert with Curt. And big shout out to my man, Speak Easy over there at Speak Easy Sports. My man, he does his thing over the DSA. And he had a rare opportunity to actually interact with the Stafford women. And that is a rarity that we get a member of our family in the DSA. He was at the Woodward Studios, their sports site over in Detroit. They call themselves the Detroit Sports Barstool of Detroit. So the Barstool Sports of Detroit, excuse me. But to see the interaction that he had to do that with those little girls and to play catch with Stafford's daughters is amazing. So, that's one thing that I like about Kelly and Matthew Stafford is they make themselves part of the community in Detroit. And that's another good reason to keep them in Detroit, in Honolulu blue and silver, is the interaction that they have with the community of Detroit. So that's my dessert for today. Shout out to my man Speak Easy over at Speak Easy Sports for sharing that video with us, with him playing catch with Stafford's daughter right there in the Woodward Sports Studio.
Awesome, because it makes it the human element too. I mean, Stafford has to hear this stuff about all the Stafford haters out there and what they say and how they are, and maybe he tunes it all out, but he's got a family too. Yep. I know Kelly's been criticized quite a bit for taking to Instagram on every point, but
she got some rants.
But you know what? Some of it's legit. I mean, they've put up with a lot of stuff here, and probably don't deserve it. But anyhow, that is going to be our show for today, and I'm going to drop it off to Curt, the new grandfather, to take us home.
All right. Hey, you know what it is. We Detroit Lions on the Prowl, your home for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Join the family. Subscribe to the channel. Comment on the videos. Like the videos. Share the videos. Answer the question of the day. And join us for the premieres where you can chat with us directly when the videos are premiering. And don't forget those super chats.
Yep.
Always appreciate that. So, you know what you got to do. Whatever you do in life, you need to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. For my man Jim, right here at Detroit Lions on the Prowl, this is Curt Steele, and we will holler at you real soon.